Okay, so this is interesting and something I've seen quite a bit of. Sil here, a regular viewer and listener of the channel, appreciate you. Kara Lawson, Duke is getting beat up by non-ranked teams this year with a 3-3 record. Should we be worried? And that is in reference to Team USA. That's kind of been the sentiment I've seen out there. Duke struggles, therefore the wrong coach hire was made for Team USA by Sue Bird. If you're unaware, Sue Bird, now the managing director of USA Basketball, and Kara Lawson, now the head coach of USA Basketball.
Whispers erupted instantly. Coach coming off a rough, losing college season was suddenly handed the reins of Team USA, with Caitlin Clark headlining the roster. The pressure skyrocketed. Fans flooded social media demanding answers, warning this could be a disaster in the making. And the outrage wasn't just about Duke's disappointing record. It was about the direction of American basketball and the weight now placed squarely on its brightest young star. The backlash ignited a viral firestorm, casting doubt over the upcoming Olympic cycle and shrouding the national team's training camp in controversy. The wave of concern grew so massive, it was impossible to ignore.
Ranked teams, but South Florida is a loss as well. West Virginia is a loss as well. So not a great start for Duke. But here's the reason I push back a little bit. Because college coaching to me, a lot of times is just so much more about recruiting than it is about actual coaching. It's about the talent that you have on your team. And I don't know, enough. Let me first of all say I haven't watched enough Duke to say like what the coaching pros and cons have been. And
Duke's stunning 3-3 start, marked by unexpected losses to unranked teams like South Florida and West Virginia, instantly became fuel for critics. How could Kara Lawson, freshly named head coach of Team USA, justify such a turbulent opening to her college season? The narrative took shape overnight. If she was struggling against mid-tier NCAA programs, how could she possibly manage the world's most elite roster? To many, the issue went far beyond a shaky record. It became a pointed indictment of her readiness for the global stage, igniting a wave of anxiety and fear that Team USA's long-standing dominance might suddenly be in jeopardy.
For Kara Lawson, I wouldn't be thinking about Duke at all. But here's the real truth of the matter. She doesn't have to recruit for Team USA. So any of what I just said is irrelevant, right? Because we already know the roster and talent. So this is about whether she can coach it. And I doubt Sue Bird makes a choice like that without the confidence in Kara Lawson. And I think, there's a level of respect that she's garnered and gained throughout her career. And just take a look at the roster for a second. Here's the Team USA roster for the training camp. This isn't...
But hold on, not everyone was buying into the outrage. Experts pushed back hard, pointing out a crucial difference that fans were completely overlooking. College coaching and professional coaching are two entirely different worlds. In college, they argued, success often hinges less on complex schemes and more on constant recruiting battles. A roster's talent level frequently dictates outcomes far more than a coach's tactical brilliance. And in the rush to judge Kara Lawson, that fundamental truth was being ignored, warping the perception of her actual coaching ability. So was the online backlash missing the bigger picture of how coaching dynamics really work? Because when you look at the national team invite list, it's stacked with superstars. The kind of roster where strategy finally matters more than recruiting. And one detail instantly caught fans' attention. Caitlin Clark stepping onto the court wearing number 17, a striking change for those used to seeing her in her iconic number 22.
For the national team. And you can see it's superstar laden. One thing that's super interesting is Caitlin Clark wearing 17, because you're so used to her wearing 22 that it stands out when you see she's got a different number. But I've said for a while, I think this 28 team, we're only coming up on 2026, so there's a little bit of time before the Olympics. But this 28 team is going to be a bit of a dream team, I think. Not quite the same. I don't want to oversell it, because there was such a spectacle to the 92 Barcelona team that went there because, the pros for the first time and magic.
Now consider the people actually making the decisions. Jim Tooley and the USA basketball leadership didn't hand Kara Lawson this role on a whim. To assume they made a snap judgment based on a handful of early season college games is to completely misunderstand the depth and rigor of their evaluation process. Lawson has earned immense respect over decades as a player, a leader, and a rising coaching mind. and she has built trust at the very top levels of the sport. This wasn't some reckless leap of faith. It was a deliberate, strategic choice grounded in confidence in her leadership and basketball IQ. Yet, despite her team's early stumbles, the Backlash conveniently ignored her accomplished resume and the long track record that led to this moment.
There was such a spectacle to the 92 Barcelona team that went there because, you know, the pros for the first time, and Magic and Bird and Jordan and Charles Barkley and all that. But I say that because this team will be composed of a lot of the players, namely Caitlin Clark, who came up in this rapid rise era. But you get there in the backcourt, Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins, right? The young superstars, along with whatever remaining veterans are still in their prime at that point. So I don't want to call them old guard, but...
And then there's Caitlin Clark, the biggest name in basketball, a full-blown phenomenon, now stepping into Team USA's camp wearing the unexpected number 17. Her presence alone electrified the roster announcement. Surrounded by established superstars and rising prodigies, Clark's inclusion instantly heightened the scrutiny on the coaching staff. Fans weren't just observing Kara Lawson. They were dissecting every moment around Clark, every drill, every interaction, every hint of a potential misstep. With the sport's most influential star on the floor, the spotlight on Lawson didn't just brighten, it exploded. Suddenly, any perceived wobble or minor struggle could become a viral firestorm overnight.
But the basic premise is it will be a changing of the guard in favor of more dynamic guards, which is kind of the way that the game has gone. And it will be the Caitlin Clark team alongside, you know, the other. I mean, think about that poster. And I know, what did they promoted it, and you know they used Kelsey Plum and Kalia Copper and I forget who the other one was on the graphic. And some people were like, oh, they're, you know, well, not some people. It was Christine Brennan who said, you know, they should have featured Caitlin Clark on the graphic.
The Team USA training camp roster alone tells a striking story, stacked with stars, a true super team in the making, featuring elite names like Paige Beckers, Juju Watkins, and Angel Reese alongside seasoned veterans. This isn't a roster Lawson has to build or recruit. The talent is already overflowing. Her role is singular and crystal clear. Coach this extraordinary collection of world-class athletes. And that's exactly why the criticism about her recruiting struggles at Duke collapses instantly. Recruiting means nothing here. What matters now is her ability to guide, elevate, and manage some of the best basketball players on the planet. A completely different challenge, and one she was chosen for with intention.
People were like, oh, they're, you know, well, not some people. It was Christine Brennan who said, you know, they should have featured Caitlin Clark on the graphic. I don't, you know, I'm not getting worked up over stuff like that. I mean, to me, that was them showing players who were there and won gold in the last Olympics. Caitlin Clark has been invited to the camp. It's, you know, there's no more controversy there. Caitlin Clark will be on the team. Caitlin Clark will be the starting point guard for that team, barring anything strange and out of the ordinary. This is the graphic that was shown that I just referenced.
One detail that instantly exploded across social media was Caitlin Clark wearing number 17. Fans who have long associated her with the iconic number 22 were stunned, and the switch became an immediate talking point. The reaction wasn't just about a jersey. It reflected the microscopic level of scrutiny she faces, where even the smallest change becomes headline material. This subtle shift symbolized her evolution from collegiate megastar to a key figure within Team USA, fueling even more buzz and firmly cementing her role as a constant viral presence.
Actual Olympics, but she ain't going to be the only coach on the sideline, let's put it that way. And it would almost take active sabotage. The rest of the world's getting better now, don't get me wrong. It's not quite like it is on the men's side, but we saw, you know, France gave the U.S. a run for their money in the gold medal game in 2024. But the rest of the world is getting better. It's no longer the gap that it once was, but it's also not quite where it is on the men's side where, you know, you don't know, no matter how talented the team is. So I wouldn't have too many Duke doubts about Kara Lawson as the coach of Team.
Experts believe this new era of Team USA, peaking around 2026 or 2028, will usher in a true changing of the guard. This time, it's less about the established veterans who've defined past dominance and more about a fresh surge of young, wildly recognizable stars. Players like Caitlin Clark, Paige Beckers, and Juju Watkins are at the heart of this transformation, carrying unprecedented visibility and pulling in a new generation of fans. With such star power comes intense scrutiny. Every lineup decision, every rotation, every coaching choice will be examined under a microscopic lens. The Dream Team comparisons are already circulating. While experts warn against pushing the analogy to the legendary 1992 Barcelona squad, the cultural impact of this upcoming women's roster could be just as significant. These players rose to prominence during the explosion of interest in women's basketball, and their mere presence guarantees massive attention. Any perceived tension, any minor challenge, any sliver of controversy will instantly ignite across social media and dominate the viral conversation. Yes, Team USA has historically dominated the international stage, racking up gold after gold, but this moment is about more than continuing a winning tradition. The real power of this roster lies in the unprecedented recognizability of its players. These athletes aren't just stars. They're global names with millions of followers and enormous cultural influence. Their collective rise elevates everything around them, including the pressure, expectations, and massive spotlight on the coaching staff, and the roster itself is absolutely stacked. Beyond Clark, you've got Paige Buchers, Aaliyah Boston, Angel Reese, Juju Watkins, and Jackie Young, a lineup so loaded with talent and name recognition that every practice, every scrimmage, and every strategic decision will be. Experts are already envisioning a starting lineup featuring Clark, Buchers, and Young, a mix of proven veterans and rising phenoms that guarantees unparalleled attention. Every play, every coaching decision, every interaction will be dissected under a microscope. Notably absent from the training camp roster were some revered veterans like Asia Wilson and Brittany Griner, as well as potential future stars like Bonna Stewart, who may transition into mentorship roles by the next Olympics. This signals a deliberate changing of the guard and a shift toward dynamic, modern guards, cementing young stars like Caitlin Clark as central to Team USA's future. Clark, barring unforeseen circumstances, is widely expected to start at point guard, a role that will dictate the team's tempo and strategy. This isn't just speculation. Insiders unanimously see her as the focal point of the roster. Naturally, this elevates the stakes for coach Kara Lawson, whose job is now not just to lead the team but to maximize the unprecedented talent at her disposal. Even minor controversies illustrate the intensity of public scrutiny surrounding Clark. A recent training camp promotional graphic, featuring Kelsey Plum, Kalia Copper, and Jackie Young instead of Clark, sparked debate. While some dismissed it as trivial, pundits like Christine Brennan argued that Clark deserved more prominence. This incident underscores the viral nature of her appeal. Before even stepping on the Olympic stage, Clark commands the spotlight. Every visual, every media representation of Team USA is now expected to feature her, demonstrating the extraordinary, almost unstoppable